Hey, yo, everybody, it's your boy, Trainer Greg McBride, aka Mr. More Than Muscle, the Dad Body Destroyer, and welcome to another episode of the More Than Muscle podcast. Today I got a special guest. Be ready for it. It's a guy I've known for a while. His name is John Brown, and we've known each other for a while, way back high school days, college, and now as adults. I get the opportunity to come back and work with him, and we're gonna talk about his life. Some of the challenges and things we go through as men and how we handle it, how we manage, and how we keep that balance. So, John, welcome.
Hey, good to be here. Good to be here. It's funny, you talking about it goes way back. When we first met, neither one of us had facial hair, so there you go.
Like, and now it's grown gray together.
Yeah, we got grown gray. That's crazy.
So, like I said, we've known each other way back from, we grew up in the same county, at the same high school for a brief moment.
Yeah.
After some years passed, we ended up back at the same college. And I'm going to say this now because I know I've said it to you in the past, but I want everyone to know this. When I got to college, I had an opportunity it was a great opportunity to grow. So, John was one of those guys who was like a leader. We played football together, so he was like a leader of the team, a leader on the campus. So I honestly say that those few years we were in school together, he was like a mentor for me. So someone who I kind of got under his wing and just understood what my role should be in the school as a student athlete, and also taking care of the younger kids coming in, because when you're playing a sport, especially in a small school like we're at, the light is on you and everybody knows what you're doing and everybody's looking at you. And so we had to make sure we, conducted ourselves in a certain way. And he was that guy who made sure, hey, I'm going to take these kids and get these guys together, and kind of built that community around there. So thank you for that. And
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's nice. It's nice to be a part of it, man. It's crazy how it's just crazy how that happens in life. You know what I mean? So it's been nice for us to reconnect and obviously to be working with you and that kind of thing.
yeah. So like I said, I want to take this time to kind of talk about, well, first off, how we came to be together, how we came to have the opportunity to work together. And I'm going to let you tell the story because you have other details. I mean, it started years ago, when I was still like living back in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, go ahead and tell us some of that experience.
So it's crazy. I think the first time like there was any kind of reconnection. So I was running a program at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. And I'm over here like, all right, I want to figure out like how we gonna get our youth connected to some more opportunities. And I see this video of this group called the Result Code. And I'm watching this video, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna work with our friend Greg. And I was like, wait, what? It's just like it's not what you expect, like you don't expect to turn on YouTube and you watching somebody and it's like, and the guy that they're working with is a dude and so, I reach out, you help me get connected to them. They came out to the program. They really rocked it. Still shout out to Mike and Michelle, man. They did their thing.
Yes.
And then, and then we've reconnected and we did, I think the Midwestern thing of like, yo, we got to get together, dog. And that went back and forth for a while, man. And then, when we found out we was living in the state, and I was over here trying to figure out what direction I wanted to go on my fitness stuff and all that, man. We reconnected, and just after those conversations, I was like, yeah, this is the dude I want to work with because I think you really understood what I was looking for. But yeah, man, we go all the way back. Because it happened in Inner Circle, I can't talk about it, but he knows what I'm talking about. We'll just say, on top of him being, Mr. More Than Muscle, he is also a prolific poet. So if you wanna know his poetry skills, you gotta ask him. So
take it back. So the Inner Circle he's talking about is a group meeting that we had in college and football. The Friday before games, we get together, all of us, and it was basically a secret meeting where we all got together and we did whatever we wanted to.
Yeah.
And what happens in Inner Circle stays in Inner Circle.
It stays in Inner Circle. So like,
good times were had.
Yeah. But we found out Greg is a really good poet, but you gotta ask him. I can't tell.
Good times. All right, so you touched on it. When you started out with the Result Cult, which are some of my coworkers back in Tampa, Florida, you had some concerns and issues and things that you were trying to work through. What was some of that?
So, I
If you
was
don't
born
mind
with.
sharing.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. So I was born with a thing called thoracic outlet syndrome, and we didn't know for a long time. We didn't know. I started having issues basically right after I started lifting weights for the first time. It was like my sophomore year in high school. I had gone out for football. It was funny. I had gone out for football my freshman year at Waukegan High School. And
Walktown?
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it was on a dare because I didn't care really that much about football, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go. And then these dudes like started roasting me, and I was like, bro, I'm not having this. I'll see y'all tomorrow, you know. And I go out. I actually fell in love with it. But in my sophomore year, we started really getting in the weight room. If you remember, Big Dwayne would have us in the weight
Yeah.
room, man. And he was had it, and then Lil Dwayne, they call him Lil Dwayne. He's giant. But
Exactly.
you know, we would be in there lifting, and I started having this issue of like all this like really bad pain in my left arm. I would wake up like just really cramped up. And for years, man, they couldn't figure it out. I get to my career in at Trinity, and I'm coming to the conclusion, and we get a new team doctor, and bro calls me in. We got to go look, and I find that I have thoracic outlet syndrome, which is basically like you have the opening in your shoulder. It's probably about like that big. Mine was like that big. It's like stenosis, but in the arm.
Mhm. So
And
basically, the narrowing in there caused a lot of issues with the nerve and all that pain. And
yeah, and because you know we're playing football and we're lifting, the muscles would swell and just eliminate any kind of space. So I was losing blood flow, nerve function to my arm. I still have like nerve issues where like I can't feel the ring finger and pinky finger as well. So I can feel that I'm touching it, but if I like hit a book on it, like it would just feel like something touched me. It wouldn't feel like I wouldn't feel pain, if that makes sense. And so even to this day, it's
good,
like that.
bad? No.
No, I mean like, it's bad in the sense if you're like, bro, like if you can't tell the difference between your finger getting slammed in the door and someone touching your finger, like you're
Yeah,
like, you
not
need some
ideal.
emergency help. So you know, I had to go through that. I get surgery, and I had reached out to them after they had worked with our kids because they had done a really great job. And I was like, all right, look, I got to go into this surgery. They say it's an 11-week recovery period. Like, I'm not trying to do that. And so Mike and Michelle like kind of put their heads together, and they had me do this whole routine pre-surgery, just helping to create flexibility, mobility in my shoulder. Because really, the big thing for that surgery is when you get your range of motion back, you're good. So we do the surgery. I got my range of motion back in 8 days.
That's
Which
crazy.
again, when you have an 11-week recovery period in front of you, and I go back in on my first visit and I can walk my hand up the wall and bring it back down, the doctor was like, "Yo, I've been doing this 28 years and I've never seen it."
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
so that's when I started realizing like, all right, like there's something to this, like, you know, this focus on primal human movement, this focus on mobility and flexibility. That really I was trying to get out of that space of where we had just put on like you put on a lot of muscle, you put on a lot of mass playing football. And I'm like, you know, I think I need to start thinking differently about what I want to do in this kind of like other stage of my life. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's really, but they helped me so much. Like, and the amount of money they save because I ain't got to go do it on doctor's visits. Oh man, that was great.
I wish more people understood. That's what happens when you really invest in yourself and take the time to say, okay, I need to be a little bit better. And I think part of it, the reason people don't understand how important it is because we don't know what it means to feel good.
Yeah,
You've been feeling the pain, you've been feeling the aches and not being able to do certain things, and that's your new normal. And
right,
until you get an opportunity to break that, it's like, I feel great. No, you don't. You just don't know what great feels like.
right. He was like, no, I'm just not in excruciating pain, and that's not the same thing as great. You know.
So fast forwarding to now when you and I got a chance to start. Well, I think it started out with you joining one of our 14-day challenges. Is that
Yep,
correct?
yep. Yeah, like
Yeah,
last November.
yeah. So I had that chance to go through that, and so my 14-day challenge is basically a 2 week program. It's a free program where I work with people, set up some basic programs, macros, and things. There's a couple options, different levels, but we all go through everything together. We meet in a Facebook group. We kind of build a community, and we talk about important topics to health and fitness.
Hmm.
So you went through that. How was that? What was that experience for you?
No, it was good. You know, it was one of those ones where I think what I was really learning during that time was like, all right, more than anything, it kickstarted my thought process on what I wanted to do, I think, for the next kind of act of my life. And so it, you know, and I ended up losing like 12 pounds during that process, and that was nice. But it actually was the thing that helped me realize I was like, I actually don't want to focus on weight loss. I want to focus on these things that actually I had started doing then, which was like I was tracking my meals and we weren't even really getting that much into macros, but I was just literally just at that time just paying attention to what I was eating.
Yeah.
You know,
Makes a difference.
we were doing workouts, and they weren't like excruciating workouts. It was where I still realized like I was still really strong. You know, I mean, obviously you saw the numbers I was putting in. I'm like, I'm still pushing 225 as a working set. You know, like there were still things that I was just like, oh man, like I'm, you know, it's even though I, you know, yeah, even though I got this gray, you know, like the athlete's still in there, you know, and so I think that's really what it was like it started me on that. I lost 12 pounds. There was like just like other stuff that I needed to get with. So we like kind of didn't do anything for a while. And then we talked again in March. Mm-hmm. And then we got cracking in April. And basically we've been going since April.
Yeah. What I love about what you're doing and how we're approaching your fitness is you said some things that I wish everyone took hold of more, because everyone gets so caught up on weight loss. They get so caught up on meal plans, so caught up on what they see on Instagram and these YouTube videos, and it's not what it's about. You told me when you first said, he's like, I'm not really concerned about weight loss. He's like, yes, I'm going to want to lose weight, but that's not the most important thing right now. I want to build the lifestyle. I want to work on the habits. I want to, you know, one of the big things, which you said all the right things, which had me super excited, was like the de-stressing, learning how to manage things in your life a little bit better, because those are the things that have to be done first if you want everything else to actually pan out and work well for you.
Right.
And these last few months, that's what it's been about.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I think we've talked about this many times, so I'm glad we're getting to do it because, you know, and I know these will be the things I share because I think it'll probably help somebody. Somebody gonna get free out here. They'll get a preacher voice on, you know. But no, I mean, I think the reason why we vibed and obviously, you know, I was looking for a lot of coaches. We got another mutual guy that we played on team with. Shout out to my guy Zim. Zim's out here doing the Lord's work. He's doing a very similar thing to Greg out in Cali. And y'all know Cali's just its own different animal, man.
I ain't pretty enough to be out there.
Yeah, man. None of us are, man. We just out here. We just regular people, man. Like, but you know, and it was like, and of course, man, Zim knows, man. I got love for everything he does. I was invested, but I was like, man, the conversations we were having, I was like, you know, what I want to do is to build a life that I can like just my living is baseline healthy for me. Like, I don't want to do a thing. I think I told Greg this. Like, I don't want to do anything extraordinary, right? Like, when I was in college, I was really strong. Like, in high school, I was extraordinarily strong. In college, I was pretty strong. I still got the workout book, you know, where, you know, I was in the top of my position group and all this stuff. You know, I'm squatting like, I think I was squatted 495 11 times. And like, you know, under what circumstance do you need to do that, right? It was just silly. Like, you don't need to do that, bro, you know? But I think back to all that stuff and I was like, I had tried my hand and relatively decently succeeded at being extraordinary. Ran 12 miles a day, lifted twice a day, ate really, really well when I played ball. Yeah, man, I was like in crazy good shape. And it just lets you know how there's levels to it because I was like, I did everything right and I wasn't even like that. Like there were dudes that was like that, you know what I mean? And, you know, and so, but I think like I had really, really pushed myself to the pinnacle. And what that got me though was not being able to walk. It got me a lot of back pain. It has me like, you know, nerve issues. And it just got to the point where I just couldn't do anything. And so then I put on a bunch of like post-plan weight and people don't understand. They're just like, oh man, you were such a great athlete. It's like, my body is broken. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like my body is broken. And like I think I had gotten to the point where I had gotten so used to being in pain. There was a day, it was like this year, it was like August 5th. It was the first time, and I'm talking about like, I haven't played football in like 15 years. It was the first time in at least 15 years where nothing hurt that day. Right? Nothing.
Wake up like, that's what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah, man, you get up easily, you walk everywhere. And I didn't realize it till the end of the day that nothing was in pain. And so that's really what my goal was. And so we had really embarked on things like really, I wouldn't say unorthodox. It's just like stuff you don't see on Instagram.
Yeah,
like
because that's not the sexy stuff.
Yeah, you can't sell sleep. I mean, you can tell them we've been working on my sleep all summer.
Number one.
Yeah.
So anyone you ever work with me, you're gonna hear it. Number one thing: sleep,
Yeah.
reducing stress, drink some water. Those are the foundations. If you can't get those things done, the rest isn't gonna be as beneficial as you think. Yes,
Right.
you can run your butt off. You can eat nothing and you'll drop weight, but to what effect? We want to
Right.
be healthy. We want to build that lifestyle. So yeah, you did the perfect transition to where I wanted to go with this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's what it's been about. I just got done reading it was a video I was watching talking about reducing about injury. It's like, oh, what can I do? Injury prevention, and I think it was Lane Norton, and he was talking about a new article that came out, research on injury. Let me make sure I say it. It's not injury prevention, but it's reducing injury, because he said it straight up. He's like, you don't prevent injuries, you can reduce the likelihood of them happening, like
Right.
certain things. And one of the big ones was sleep. I wish I could remember the numbers, but I want to say it was 1,002% increase. It was a two in front of it. I remember it's either 200 or 2,000. But okay, if 200%, 2,000%, regardless, that's a substantial amount of increase of the likelihood of injuries being reduced by getting proper sleep. Just getting proper sleep, you'll be able to function and recover better. So, if you're not doing that, one, you're not going to get the benefits from the things you're doing, and two, you're going to more likely get hurt and break down.
Yep. Yep. And they just I just saw a study today that's like, and if you don't get enough sleep, it actually increases your causes of mortality by like 14%. And you're just like literally falling down the stairs, getting electrocuted, walking out in traffic, like it ain't no joke.
It affects your focus.
Yeah.
So
And we worked on it all summer. Like I wish, and so I should tell people, right? Like, y'all, it was I would say it's harder than lifting weights. It's harder than running. It's like really forcing yourself to create routines, to
there's the
discipline
word.
yourself to go to sleep. And sometimes it was, and I'll just be real because I think it'll help people. I don't know how other dads are, but like there was like for a good portion of my time, especially as I was trying to build our income up and get our house and just like create opportunity for my family, I would work really, really early to really, really late. And then the only time I ever had free time, like any time to myself, was at night.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, for me, it was like, man, this had like, it had a negative psychological effect to only work and sleep.
Yeah.
Like I needed some me time. And so what that had turned into though was like to like just years and years and years of like getting 5 or less hours of sleep.
Yep.
And you can do it
We're
when
not
you're
as young as we used to be.
Yeah,
You
man,
heard the
you
same thing.
you
You're
can
not
do
that
it when you're
young.
young. Yeah, you can't do it when you're older. And I'm like, and we're not even old yet. We medium old. You know what I mean? Like, like, we're medium old. Like we can still touch our toes, but like not that easily. And so I think it was for me like having to figure out like what does my me time look like now? Does my me time need to sometimes happen in the mornings? Do I need to like have decompression time after work? Like it was really forcing me to do that. I think the other thing is like I was coaching football. Yeah, right. I was coaching football at Highland Park, St. Paul. Shout out to the Scots. And I love doing it, but it was also like it was both a source of stress, but also I was working like and some these are the things like parents and players don't know, but like you're really wanting to like give them a great experience, and so I would be at work all day. I'd go to practice. After practice, you're there for an hour, like coaching a kid up or like talking to the parents or like whatever. You drive home, and then you get home, you eat, you spend time with your family till they go to sleep, and then I'm up watching film or I'm up putting together the next game
Time
plan.
to invest for the future for what you're doing.
Yeah. And so, and I think I told Greg this, like when we finally got together and I was just kind of completely defeated by the whole process and I had to walk away from football. I was like, man, I had to do the real hard math of realizing like I was invested in everything but myself. Like me and my family, we bought our house last year. We did it. Like, right. I did what I said I was going to do. I got married. I got my job. I moved up. I worked really, really hard. We got the bread to buy the house. So now we got our house. We got our kids. Our kids are going to a good school. We got savings. We have all this stuff. And the only thing I don't have is like my health. I can't sleep. I'm stressed. I got mental health issues. I had undiagnosed PTSD. Like everybody was benefiting from the work I was putting in, but me.
Yep.
And that had to change. And it wasn't
Can't
just
can't
about
last forever.
fitness.
Not that way. Not
Yeah.
at all. So that's what we had. I wish you could. I kind of wish you guys could have been a part of some of these conversations that we've had in the past, because they've been like real meaty conversations where we're talking about what it is. We have similar backgrounds, so we understand each other. We have that connection. But outside of that, just as a kind of global idea of what it means to like, or how to do the things of being a man, being fit, because it matters. Taking care of your family and doing well in your career and trying to balance yourself on top of all that is not easy. And like you said, then you have other engagements now because you have other passions, other hobbies you want to do. I know you enjoyed coaching. I know you love coaching. You wanted to continue to do it, but to do it at the level and with the quality that you wanted to do, took away from something else. It always will. And so what we have to do as individuals, as humans, as men, we have to say, okay, where am I going to put my energy? What's my priorities? And if you can't put yourself near the top of that list, everything else is going to fall apart eventually.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we've been plugging that in there. So I want, if you could kind of touch base on some of the things that, because again, just to help other people that have helped you when, like we were talking about, I know one of the big things was, how did you come about say, okay, what can I do to de-stress, and how can I help myself out by building a better routine to sleep and make sure I can recover and function well?
Yeah, so it was actually interesting. It was one of those things where, like, because I was still engaged in football. You learn a lot, right? Like they say, championships. When games aren't won on the game day, they're won in practice, and championships aren't won during the season; they're won in the off season. And so my de-stressing process actually would start in the morning.
Okay.
And so it was like, okay, so I would do the workout. I would then go take a shower, and I would take a shower. Like, this is just me. I don't like having a lot of light on. So you can even tell in this, like, everything else is dark except for this one light. And so I would take a shower in the dark, and I would listen to like lo-fi music, or I would listen to Leon Bridges. Shout out to Leon Bridges. His music's fire. And I'm just like, and I would sing with it, or I would just like vibe to it. And then I would like, and this is funny because it's like, you don't hear dudes talk like this all the time, but I started really focusing on like skincare routine. So I would get out and I would like do like, there's like this kind of oil you put on, and once you let it kind of like dry, it's deep moisturization. Then I put lotion on. I would start working on taking care of my beard. I literally grew the beard as a part of the process to slow my days down, of something that I had to focus on. And so the goal was no one gets anything from me before me, right? And so most of the days would start where it's like I would do my workout, and the workouts we do, just so people know, they're not arduous, right? Like, because we're working on building a foundation and me not injuring myself, right? And so they're not the most arduous workouts. They're like, right now we're working on just like deep core strength and all that kind of stuff. But I would do my workouts, I would take my shower, and then before I even stepped out the door, I had already invested in myself internally. I'd invested in myself externally. I had eaten, I had water, and now I can go do my day.
And that feeling of knowing that, okay, I'm right before you go is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I explained it before in a video about like watering a plant. You get a cup. You can't water that plant. You're the cup until you fill yourself up. You can't give out to anything. You can't help anyone else. You can't give of yourself what you don't have. So you have to always take time and make sure you fill yourself up, so then you can be, as a man, this is probably the biggest word. I love this idea. Be useful. You got to be useful. Because as a man, if you're not useful, it's kind of sad. What are you? That's how people look at you.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves so we can be useful, helpful, and for ourselves be productive.
And to that point, Zim is like, because I'm sure Zim will see this, so he knows that he'll confirm this. But there'll be so many times because he'll be like, bro, you got like all these ideas you can execute. He was like, think of how crazy it would be if you were like at your peak fitness, you were getting all your rest, all that kind of stuff. He was like, with the stuff you come up with now, what you would do is just unbelievable. And so it has been but that has been my commitment. So that's why the focus actually hasn't been on weight loss. And I would say I guess I show you the other thing on the back end of that rest is like, I would really get to the point where like, anybody who knows me knows that there's a lot of stuff I don't care about. It makes people uncomfortable with me sometimes because like I don't care about that. Like your feelings are not the top 10 on my list.
I'm trying to think how many times I heard you say I don't care about that.
I don't care about that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I just don't. And it's like and I'm not a mean guy. Like people who know me, I'm a nice guy. But like there's just plenty of things where it's just like I said this to a friend the other day. I'm like I've started realizing. I'm 39 now. I started realizing life is short. And I don't want to spend it caring about things I know won't matter on my deathbed. You know, and so I think so it made it easier to step away from football. And people who know me know I love that game. They know I love to coach. They know I love to see people be great. Like I walked away from something I love almost as much as my children because it was robbing me. And I'm not meaning the players. I mean the process by which I know myself. I couldn't, like you were saying, I couldn't not do it at the highest level. But if I was doing it at the highest level, I was not investing in myself. And one of us was going to go, and it was going to always be me, whether it was like in a box or if I walked away from it, you know. And so, but I think like continue committing to that lifestyle of like, man, I'm not worried about anything that doesn't move the needle. So I could go through my days being like, if people are being shady or they're doing whatever, I'm not sweating none of that. And then when it came to the evenings, it was just spending time with the fam. Like no joke, I wouldn't watch action movies. I wouldn't watch suspense movies no more. I wouldn't watch horror. It was like, I was getting me a good little comedy. You know, I would laugh a little bit. I'd read a little bit and then I was off to sleep. And that's really what it has been, is just me starting out just like caring for myself. It's changed my skin. It's funny because I told Greg I was really mad when we got on the scale. I was like, this one I like getting on the scale. I didn't lose a single pound this summer, but all my clothes fit better. Like I'm down a size in my pants. I'm down a size in my shirts. I didn't lose a single pound. I was very upset because like if you look, I got my Fitbit. I'm like, I was always like, I was in a deficit every day. Every single day. And I'm like, I can't lose no weight. But like so many things changed. My resting heart rate came down. We talk about like 28 beats per minute.
Yeah, that's insane.
Right?
That's
like,
crazy.
You know, the resting heart rate came down. My steps went way up. My sleep was much better.
Yeah, you're talking about, you saw a few times about your sleep score and how you had those 100s for.
Yeah, I had 2 of them this summer.
Coming from where you were, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And I had a bunch of like readiness scores in the 90s. And so even though I would have big days before, I was getting more rest. And so my body was more ready to go.
And that's what it's about. Is you can go as hard as you want, but if you can't recover from it, it don't matter.
Right.
So just continue to tear yourself down.
Exactly.
But big picture. So we've done some things you've been really focused on. We're holistic in this approach and trying to be good men, good leaders, fathers, doing your thing in your career. When we talk about these solutions and what you're going to do going forward, what's the height? What do you see? How do you see that? What's that vision look like?
Yeah, the vision really, and I mean genuinely, man, is just like to create a life that's healthy. Like where I don't have to do it. I don't have to do a strenuous workout. I don't have to cut no foods out, where I don't have to do nothing crazy because like I have built a life that is not going to have me gaining crazy amounts of weight. That's not super stressful. That like my day-to-day life supports my health. Like that's the big vision.
That's the mic drop.
Like, yeah.
It's crazy you said that. I went to one of my clients, his kid had a birthday party a couple weeks ago and there's other people there that knew me, and as the party's going on, the food's coming out, I promise you, everybody just stopped and stared at me. Everybody's looking like, what's Greg doing? What's Greg doing? Is he eating some of that cake? Is he going to eat some of his pizza?
Yeah.
And as soon as they saw me put some food on my plate, it's like, okay, I can eat now. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. Get your cake, ice cream, have some pizza. But no, you see me doing this. But guess how often this happened? My lifestyle in general is above average. And that's where you keep it. You can have those moments. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to, again, take away something, this super restrictive life. No, you have to have time to enjoy it. I promise you, my birthdays, celebrations, anniversaries, all that stuff. When I'm going to games, I'm going to indulge. I'm going to have some fun. But I don't do that every day. That's not the lifestyle. That's the exception. And that's what people need to understand. It's not, you got to have the rule and the exceptions. Exceptions don't happen often. We have holidays, and people talk about, no, it's a holiday season. That's where you fall off. Because there's always a holiday season.
and plus, let's be honest, man, like, especially in the fall, bro, it's basically holiday season from October 1st to January 1st.
Time to go.
It's like, and I should say this because you brought that up. This, like, I didn't gain any weight. Actually, remember, that's when I lost that 12 pounds. I lost 12 pounds during Thanksgiving and Christmas.
It's always the best time.
Yeah, it's the easiest time to gain weight, and I actually lost it.
Opposite of what everyone does. That's when everybody's putting on what the average is 5 to 10 pounds during the holidays, and you lost that.
Yeah, and I didn't even, and I still ate the food. I just ate less of it. It was just like, and it was funny, man. It was just like,
thought that would work, right?
And it's funny. All I did was just literally grab the little plate. That was it. Grab the little plate, eat the same things I would normally eat. And it was just on a smaller plate, and you find out
psychology.
Yeah, man. You just find out you actually don't need that much. And I think I told you this, now what has been the guidance for me on is how am I feeling? I was never a guy who needed energy drinks and all that kind of stuff, but I'm you feel like you can, I always felt like I could get through my day, right? I always felt like I can get through my day and do the stuff, but it's it's really different when you get through your day and then something comes up and you got to stay up. And I'm like, yo, I have energy till midnight if I have to, right? I don't want to, but I can, and it's you're not running, you don't feel run down. So I think that's so much of it, man, was just really just wanting to build a life for myself, man. And to pretend we don't have environmental factors that are negative to our health is crazy, but also to recognize that we have to take responsibility for mitigating those factors in the ways that we can. And I think that's really what it was for me. It was okay, I'm not going to kind of fall in. I don't want to fall into the category. And I should say, this is why I rock with Greg, because Greg's not the trainer that's going to shame you into stuff. And he's not going to, whatever, he'll hold you accountable. He'll be yo,
collaborate over here.
Yeah, but he'll hold you accountable. But he's no, I want you to enjoy your life, dog. And so I think it's why I've been really excited to work with him, because it's just it's way more collaborative. It feels I've stuck to the plan longer with Greg than I've done with anybody. And it's just because we have conversation. We just have conversation and we work it out, and he respects the goals that I'm trying to set and that kind of thing. So,
yes, sir. That's a perfect way to kind of conclude this, because that's where I wanted to get with this. Yeah. I'm excited to see where things go, because as I said, it's about the foundation first. You've built a strong foundation. We've been building it for months, and we're finally at that turning point, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Again, taking it where we want to take it. There's no specific, this is where everyone needs to be. This is pinpoint right here and go there. It's okay. What are your goals? Where do you want your lifestyle to be? And how do we marry the two together?
Right.
That's all it is. That is all it is. Everyone's idea of success and an optimal lifestyle isn't going to be the same. It can't. Because you can look at what a professional athlete does. Everybody's not trying to do that. So
right. And when you find out their life expectancies are not as long as you would think, that their life expectancies aren't as long as people who just walk, it lets you know,
exactly.
Man, you ain't got
quality of life.
Yeah. That you ain't got to be 2% body fat to be cool.
Nah.
The people who live long will surprise you what they look like.
Yeah. Forget all the Instagram models and all that stuff they put out there. But man, John, I really appreciate you coming out. Awesome. We've been there for years, and we can keep this thing going. Man, for sure. So wrapping this up, this is again another episode of the More Than Muscle podcast. The special guest here, John Brown, one of my clients who is going to be amazing. I'll continue to share. He will help me as well share his story and the things that go along in his journey. If you find this message, this podcast, anything to be beneficial, you know someone who might benefit from hearing this episode, please share it. Find us on Spotify or whatever streaming services you have, and like, share, and give me a review with some good ratings and help us to grow and other people to hear more about. You have to do this. You do not know this is how I win. My phrase, thank you all, but be more than muscle. Flex it out.
All right.
Sir.
Definitely be more than muscle. There we go.